Hello my beautiful co-creators, Lilu here from Big Island in Hawaii on the Juicy Living Tour. And today I'm with my friend Slim.
Slim Chandra-Shekar.
It's so good to meet Slim because we've connected on Facebook and you had this amazing journey that I'm very excited to know more about and share with everybody around the world. You're truly a beautiful co-creator. This man was a venture capitalist from the Silicon Valley in the Bay Area and now is a shaman, a healer, an author, soon-to-be author, and this is quite a journey, huh?
It's quite a journey. Actually, you're predicting more about me than I think I know. Yes, I hope to finish a book sometime this year. It's been in the works for some time. But getting back to the spot, Lilu, this is one of our favorite spots on the whole Big Island, maybe in the whole world. This is a very special beach at Puako on the Big Island.
How do you feel about Hawaii? Because you haven't always lived here.
No, as you know, the first third of my life was spent in India, growing up as a young man, and then I spent 22 years in Europe, in Germany, and then moved to California with my family in 1988. But you know, my wife and I, and then after my wife died, Penelope and I have been coming to the Big Island individually and together now for almost over 20 years. And there's something very special about the Big Island. As I told you at lunch, India is my ancestral home, and yet I feel that the Big Island is my soul home. Every time I land here, I have a big smile on my face, together with tears of joy. And there's something very magical about this island, very magical, the home of Pele.
Yes, yes, and I've met so many people for the past 5 weeks that I've been here in Hawaii, and everybody seems to have their favorite island at a certain time of their life. Like, I'm so drawn to Kauai, and for you, this is the feeling you have here on Big Island, huh?
Yeah, and there are others who feel the same way about Maui. And I think every one of these Hawaiian islands has something very special. You know, the 7 islands are compared to the 7 chakras. The Big Island being the root chakra, and Kauai being the 7th chakra. You know, the chakra on top of our heads. And so there's something very magical about all the islands.
Tell us how you made that transition between where you were at, and it's really through the death of your ex-wife that really everything started opening up, and your own spiritual journey opening up. I mean, how do you feel being where you're at now compared to where you were? Such a huge journey you have done in a short period of time, relatively speaking.
Well, it's been 6 years since my wife died. My wife, Steffi, who I met in Germany, we were married for 34 years. I knew her for 37. Our kids were born in Germany. And my life as a venture capitalist was on track, and in early 2001 she was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is bone marrow cancer, and I decided to give up my job, and I became her full-time caregiver. And at this time also I was helping an entrepreneur in San Rafael with a small business, but being a caregiver was new to me, and I just feel I needed to do that. And at that time I didn't think of it in terms of spirituality or anything else. It was just my way of giving back to her. She had given to me and the family for 35 years, and it was just a little bit that I could do. So I was her full-time caregiver, and then she passed away in March of 2005. And then I was in a void for about 3 months, and then one thing led to the other. You know, I started taking up piano lessons and art classes. And there was a Russian lady in my piano class, and she asked me one day whether I had heard of Dr. Brian Weiss and his book, Many Lives, Many Masters. You know, he's one of the world's experts on past life regression. And I didn't have a clue. And she handed me the book and almost ordered me to read it. And I read it, and it had a very profound impact on me. First of all, it gave me a clue that, you know, the journey of the soul and reincarnation. And even though I grew up in India believing in reincarnation as a Hindu, I had sort of lost my Hindu roots. And it came back to me with this book, and I became a hypnotherapist and started working with cancer patients. But there was a passage in the book which also gave me a clue, Lilu, that the soul of my wife, its journey was ended, and she had to move on so that I could change. And it was just like a little light bulb going off. And so
there's a lot of love there.
Yeah, you could call it that. And it was just a very profound self-understanding, maybe I should call it that. At that time, I didn't even think of it in spiritual terms, but just as something that nowadays I say, okay, I'm so blessed that even within this own lifetime, I've been reincarnated once. So I had my old life as a businessman and a venture capitalist, and now I'm given this opportunity to sort of, do my healing work and make a difference in people's lives, even in a small way. And I don't know if you remember, the old Facebook. There was a little box under your picture, and they changed the format. And in that box, I had this little sentence where my definition of my spiritual life is, if I can sort of touch one person every single day, I think then I've done what I'm supposed to do. It doesn't need to be, at least for me in this lifetime, touching hundreds or thousands of people, as many people are called to do. But if I can make a difference, just put a smile on someone's face, touch one person every single day. That was sort of my motto that I put on my Facebook page, and I try and live by that.
Yes. So what would you say, what values do you live by, or what are some of your mantras or some of your practices, or how do you now live your day-to-day life? What is at the core of this juicy life that you're living? As you're coming here actually every morning swimming.
Oh my Lilu, first of all, I'm so blessed to have found a new partner in my life in Penelope. We've been together 6 years now, and she has, yes, quite, I met her 3 months after my wife died, and some may think it was very early, but I had been grieving for 2 years before my wife died, when I had the knowing that I was going to lose her. And really, to answer your question, it's very simple. It's not that profound or spiritual, and that is, first and foremost, not to take myself very seriously these days, which I think I used to when I was in business, And when you take yourself very seriously, you miss out on a lot of fun. And the moment you start taking yourself not so seriously, you really start finding bliss in life. And I'd say that's one of my mantras. The other mantra is to really touch people wherever I can, and in small ways or big. I was telling you at lunch that after my wife died, my son and we went to India, and we became one of the sponsors for an orphanage for blind kids in India. That's become a very serious objective in my life, to help this orphanage. And as you know, I created the CD, The Magic of Gayatri, chanting the Gayatri mantra, and the proceeds from the CD go to that orphanage, and if ever I write a book and it gets published, then the proceeds will go there. So Penelope and I and my kids, we do 3 feedings a year for about 1,000 of these orphans every year, breakfast, lunch and dinner. These are ways of giving back. I do a lot of pro bono work with my clients, with my healing work. So it's just touching people. It doesn't matter how you touch people. It's just touching them, and just making their day at the end of the day be a little better than it might have been,
Let's talk about the seriousness of life for a second. What do you mean by seriousness of life? I think some of us don't realize how serious our life has become. There's a tipping point there, I think, when we start seeing that we're in the seriousness of life. Could you define that a little bit?
I'll try to. When I said not to take myself so seriously, I'll come back to that. That is not to say that we should not acknowledge that life can be very serious. I mean, life is very serious for the people of Iraq or Afghanistan, or the people who have gone through the earthquakes in Japan or New Zealand or Haiti or Chile. And life is very serious for so many of our people in this country who have lost jobs in this economy. And that is one thing. And when I say not to take myself seriously, what I really meant was to step out of our ego, and so there is a difference between acknowledging the seriousness of life. The suffering that my wife went through was very serious. My life as a caregiver was serious business. But at the same time, I could only be a better caregiver when I put my ego out of the way. And even in my healing work, I have come to believe that you can only be a good healer when you step out of the way and you let spirit step in. And it's really, you're a catalyst. To say I am a healer means I'm taking myself too seriously. But to say I do healing work and I can step out of the way and I let spirit do the work, then I am successful, or trying to be successful, in not taking myself that seriously, you know. So I guess that's my view on that.
Yes. So same thing in life then, really, spirit takes over. Spirit guides us. A lot of people talk about that in these interviews and the conversation we have, how it's more about stepping back and receiving and opening ourselves up to spirit.
Absolutely.
Letting things unfold rather than pursuing them in such a hard, mechanic, automatic way.
I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying and what others in their interviews have said. I think sometimes we try too hard. And even praying, I think we try too hard. And I remember, even my wife was Catholic, and even though I was raised Hindu, I never converted to Catholicism. I'd go to the church once in a while, and especially midnight mass and Christmas or Easter or something, I'd go with my kids and my wife. And whether it's in the church or in a Hindu temple, I see people praying. And they'll pray 10 times, 100 times, and 1,000 times. And Lilu, they forget to send off their prayers. They're so caught up in their praying, and spirit or God or the divine or whatever we want to call it, she, he, is saying, you forgot to mail your prayer in the mailbox. You keep holding on to it. The more you pray and pray and pray. So I think
trust is needed. Huh?
Trust is needed, and letting go is needed, even when we pray for something or we do a healing. As a healer, when I quote unquote do my healing or let spirit do the healing, at some point in time, I've got to let go. I've got to let go of the client. I've got to let go of the healing work and say, okay, whatever is supposed to happen will happen. And that's what I meant by not taking myself too seriously. If I do, then I'm saying, okay, I, Slim, am this healer, and I'm now doing my work, and I've got to spin my pendulum 5 times, or I've got to do this or that. You know, when process takes over or ego takes over, then healing goes out of the door, you know?
What inspires you right now in the present and in the future? Is there something that really touches, moves you, and really that calls you even more than before?
Yeah, first of all, you inspire me, Lilo. And
thank you.
That's not an empty compliment. Give or take a few years, you're probably half my age. And, you know, I often say sometimes it's a shame that you have to get to your 60s or 70s to find spirituality. So I'm always inspired when I see younger people who are on their path of self-discovery and allowing spirit to come in and discover their own brand of spirituality. I'm meeting more and more young people and also young children who are discovering spirit. And it's their own brand. It's their own way of finding spirit and doing their work now and in the future. And that inspires me. So, and I love to be around young people. And it doesn't matter if you call them spiritual or not, but I also think it's a huge anti-aging formula to think young and be in the presence of young people. That inspires me. Then my father really inspires me. He's 95. He's doing great. Penelope and I visited him in India in January, and he has so much humor, and he has his own way of connecting with spirit at his age. He has taught me to be a giver rather than a receiver. And let me tell you, when I was in business, I was a huge receiver. It was a lot about me. And this is also new to me, this thing about giving back. And my father is a shining star in that area. Even at 95, you know, he's so healthy, and he has a foundation where he donates wheelchairs to the needy. And I find that really so funny, not only touching, but funny, because at 95, he is giving wheelchairs, donating them to those who need them. And so these are
And
people...
using a golf club, huh?
Yeah, his cane is his 7-iron golf club. And that's what makes him human being, and he inspires me. And just a lot of very... people you meet every day. You don't have to be inspired. What I've found out is you don't have to be inspired by gurus, teachers, authors, writers. They're doing beautiful work, not to get me wrong. And every now and then something I read or listen to or watch will touch me and inspire me. But I'm just inspired continually by the everyday stories of people who are just making it day by day, and yet they have some beautiful stories to share. They're the stories that really touch you, you know, and you have a lot of lessons to learn from these people, you know.
Yes, I agree. This is why the little tagline of the GC Tour is everyday inspiration from everyday people, because we're all everyday people, really, aren't we?
Absolutely. We're all everyday people. That's a beautiful way of putting it. Absolutely.
It's time to bring it back to, I wouldn't say the word equality, but to unity. We're all there. We all bring a different ingredient.
Yeah, that is so true. We all bring a different ingredient, and it doesn't matter really what your status in life is, or how much money you have or don't have. I think so many people are contributing. I mean, you asked me the question of inspiration. I go back to my college days where I was very blessed. I studied at St. Xavier's College in Calcutta, and I was very blessed to meet Mother Teresa on more than one occasion. And fellow students and we were blessed to go and volunteer at her community center, and where she worked with the lepers and not so fortunate. And my gosh, Lilu, this woman, if there was ever an example on our planet of somebody who gave without expecting anything in return, it's Mother Teresa. And even if the Catholic Church hadn't sainted her, I think the rest of the planet would have, because she was truly a saint, and she has always been a great inspiration to me, and in terms of just how a person who had absolutely nothing was able to give so much and make such a difference in people's lives, you know.
You're probably very inspired too by Gandhi.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was just a very small child of maybe 4 or 5 or 6 when Gandhiji was shot, the day he was shot. And I was in New Delhi at the time, and I remember being carried on the shoulders of my grandfather, where the thousands and thousands of people gathered around on the streets of Delhi when the news of his shooting spread, you know. And it was just a momentous occasion, but just even being in the presence of his energy was, I think, pretty amazing.
Yes. Well, beautiful. Thank you so much for this moment, Slim. Thank you for welcoming us in your home here. This feels like your home. This beach, I know you come here every day.
Well, we are very blessed to have 1 foot on the Big Island and 1 foot in Northern California, where we have our home in both places. And this beach at Puako is one of our favorite places, and I can't wait for you to return to the Big Island so we can come out here swimming and snorkeling.
Yes! I say yes to that. Well, much love, my beautiful co-creators from Hawaii. We send you lots and lots of love from this beautiful island. Thank you.
Aloha, and so nice to be with you, Lilu.
Nice to be with you too. Aloha!
Aloha. Savitri, Saraswati, Gayatri. Bless us and deepen our love for this prayer. Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuvaha, Om Suvaha, Om Mahaha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha.